Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the world's most beautiful melodies by popular demand. I did it one after having taken a break, and a bunch of you said, "Oh, please do more." So yeah, we're going to do some more because, gosh, they're wonderful. And the melodies that I want to sort of focus on in this leg of the journey are ones that appear in places where you don't necessarily expect them. Because, we all know the big tunes if you know the basic repertoire. We know the composers who are famous for writing the big tunes. But there are some places where you find the most unbelievably exquisite stuff. And there are reasons they're not as popular as the big tunes. Either they're not symmetrical, or they're too long, or they don't have definite beginnings and endings. They don't have the kinds of things that allow you to extract them from their context, basically. And so in this particular case, we're talking about a composer who's a wonderful melodist and everybody loves, Sibelius. And we've talked about him before in this series. We did the finale of the First Symphony. However, this particular tune comes from his incidental music. And Sibelius wrote tons and tons and tons of incidental music. Technically, Finlandia was part of, incidental music. The original version of it was part of a suite of pieces he wrote for a series of tableaux vivants, where you had, staged pictures of things with music to accompany them to illustrate historical subjects or things like that. Anyway, Sibelius wrote tons of incidental music, and a lot of it's very, very neglected and not as well known as it should be. I mean, when was the last time you heard Swan White or Belshazzar's Feast? Did you know Sibelius did Belshazzar's Feast? Yes, he did. He did all kinds of stuff. Sometimes we hear a suite from The Tempest on disc, but you almost never hear these things in concert. Peleus and Melisande, a couple numbers are famous. Essentially, it's ignored. Lots and lots of this music is ignored, unless he made some sort of separate, clean, popular suite that somehow survived the winnowing process in our concert life. The Karelia Suite is just about the only other bit of incidental music by Sibelius that we hear regularly. And it's just a crime. The Scènes Historiques are fabulous. 2 suites of beautiful works. And they're 15, 20 minutes long. They make excellent concert openers, but they don't get played. And I think that's just extraordinarily cruel. I've talked about a bunch of these in my fabulous concert programs where I stuff them in various places because they really need to be heard. And in this case, we're talking about the Suite to King Christian II, which is a historical drama for which Sibelius wrote quite a bit of music, actually. The complete incidental music, which is his Opus 27, it comes from 1898, the same period as the First Symphony, and the tune we're going to hear does bear a striking resemblance to the big tune in the finale of the First Symphony. It's 35 minutes worth of really serious music with some very large numbers, one of which is called simply Nocturne. Now, this Nocturne is 8 minutes long, and after a little introductory noodling around, it develops into one of the most gorgeous examples of Sibelius's sort of Tchaikovsky mode. It's incredibly beautiful and exquisitely scored and instantly memorable. And you're going to hear it, and you're going to either know that you've heard it before, but you can't remember where, or it's going to get stuck in your head forever, and you're going to have to go get the Suite to King Christian II because you're going to want to hear it yourself regularly. And this chunk that I'm going to play, it's an 8-minute piece. There's 5 minutes of it. And it's one big, long, continuous, evolving melody. So it's you can't really chop it up or cut it anywhere. You've got to hear the whole passage, the way it slowly builds up to its lyrically orgasmic climax. It's just incredibly beautiful, and it's stunning that nobody knows it. They really don't. People don't hear it. It took me. I heard it like centuries ago, and it immediately got stuck in my brain, but I didn't know what it was, and it drove me insane because I couldn't get it out of my head, and I always knew what it was, and I mean when I heard it, but I didn't know what it was, and finally in my extended investigation into Sibelius' music, I just got this thing and listened to it and went, oh my God, there it is. That's what it was. And actually, the King Christian, the second suite, ends with something called Ballad, which it's a big turbulent war piece, and it's fabulously exciting. It ends with a bang. It's really a thrilling work. And at 35 minutes, I mean, it's basically 30 minutes is as long as almost a symphony. I mean, you could really do it. It's got some big chunks of music. Anyway, let us listen to Leif Segerstam, the late Leif Segerstam, and the Turku Philharmonic Orchestra on Naxos, doing a 5-minute honk with the big tune of the Nocturne from the King Christian II Suite. And trust me, you're gonna love it. thank Naxos for giving me permission to use the music. Wow, isn't that special? What a beautiful, beautiful thing. That's amazing. It doesn't get played. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But you can get it and listen to it at home. And I suggest that you do just that. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.